Beware. Beware. This is a warning. The Grim Reaper of radio, Bob Romanik, with his off-the-record show is about to air. He's probably the nastiest and craziest son of a bitch that you've ever had the misfortune to encounter. The Grim Reaper show will be very controversial and probably quite tasteless. If you are even slightly offended by controversial matter concerning religion, racial matters, politics, or life's problems, you are hereby warned to turn this program off immediately. The Grim Reaper show will be, like his face, very scary and very ugly. At this time, not proudly, but shamefully presents to you Bob Romanik, the craziest son of a bitch on the radio today.
This is Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, simulcasting on KZQZ 1430 AM. Insane Broadcasting, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio, and we are, as always, proud, very, very proud to be the Patriot. Good Thursday morning weather report. It's wet as hell outside. It's nasty. Unlike Mrs. Kern, who's nastier in another sense, and we're going to get into that because I'm tired of being nice. Everybody says, Bob Romanik, you're being too nice. I'm not being too nice. I've had a headache the last couple of weeks, but now my headache's over. Well, the headaches of the courthouse isn't over for all of us, but we're going to start taking care of business because we're going to expose these rotten bastards. I told a friend of mine, when you expose these son of a bitchin' politicians politically, it pisses them off. But when you embarrass them personally, they don't know how to take it. You know, people walk down the street now, they see Kern, they see Bear Civic, they see Sprague. They know the underbelly because I've given you good people the underbelly of politics in St. Clair County and all throughout the region. But they're laughing at these guys. Now, I put a billboard up, as again, you guys know I'm running for state rep. It's on Route 15, and it's got my name running for state rep. Kern's so worried about losing the election, and I think you good people are going to sit him down. He's got 2 or 3 billboards up now, and they're not cheap. But he's got it. I spent my money. He spent the contributors' money. But he's got his nasty ass. Who the hell? Who has that much vanity that they want? If you don't know what Kern looks like now, then he's definitely been a failure. You don't have to put your picture up there, Kern. Everybody knows your ass-wiped face. I think I've seen it with the transgender group. I don't know. Maybe it looked like you. I don't know if it was. But everybody knows what you look like, you idiot. He's got his face smiling and profiling. How vain can you get? But see, that's what happens, people. These son of a bitches think they're better than us. Black and white. We're going to take care of them in November the 8th. And I've told you, I'm by far the best candidate for state representative. But I'm the second worst candidate running. LaToya Greenwood is the first. So, you know, it's who's the lesser of the evils. And I say that for me and LaToya. We've got a great ticket on the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition. We've got Carl Officer, who'll be coming in just a little bit. We've got Roger Cook, Dallas Cook. We've got some young people, and we've got some educated people, and we have some dedicated people. Now, I got to tell you, we don't have any perfect people on the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition ticket. No, everybody's far from being perfect. But we're decent. We've got the attitude that we all need to have. It's time for a change. And I know you hear that every election. It's time for a change. And it usually is. 4 years is enough for somebody. 8 years is definitely enough. They want to make it a career opportunity. Kern will sit there as long as we let him. But remember, people, when Kern loses, when you vote that rotten bastard out, that no-count, political, no-good, rotten, perverted son of a bitch, and I want to apologize to the perverts because they're not as bad as Kern and Bear Civic and Sprague. And we're going to get into Bear Civic here in just a little bit. And you all know Sprague. I just wonder, Bob Sprague, and I've heard this from a relative of yours, Do you actually get, and I don't know, I'm asking, it's alleged that you actually get so drunk, you pass out and piss in your drawers. Now, that's the leader of the Democratic Party. Does that show you how powerful he is? This no good. And Sprague, give me a call. See, these rotten bastards who try to screw with you in court, they'll have the police try to arrest you. They don't have the guts to fight 1-to-1. Kern Barasivic, you son of a bitches, get out of those pink lace panties that you're wearing, will you? And don't forget Sprague. But anyway, let's take care of our housekeeping. We've got Dr. Karen Cason also be coming in, a good friend of ours, and her daughter, Laninia Cason, got screwed, politically, of course, when she was a judge, an associate judge, wanted to be a circuit judge, so she put her name on the ballot. You can't do that in St. Clair County, because let me tell you, in St. Clair County, and they can get pissed at me, but the proud blacks in East St. Louis that get the white boys elected in St. Clair County, they're still on the plantation down there. But the New Vision Democrats have broken away from the East St. Louis Democratic Club, and we'll talk with Mayor Officer. He's familiar with all those situations down in East St. Louis. But I think the proud black community has seen what Kern and Sprague and Barasivic has done to them, and they've broken away. People in Cahokia have broken away. People in Washington Park have broken away. People now understand that Kern and Sprague and Barasivic are the political cancer of St. Clair County. We've exposed them on the radio. You people know what's going on. And again, we may not be the best candidates, but we're sure better. We're better than the Democrats. And I've heard, and I've talked with a lot of Democrats, been to a lot of meetings, a lot of speeches. The mainstream Democratic people, they're crossing over. They're going to vote for the candidates on the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition ticket. Even though we're running as Republicans, you can't get on the Democratic ballot. These guys, do you know they have to pay $25,000 to get on the Democratic ballot, even if they let you on? And I think that's a crime. I personally think that's criminal. $25,000. And they make the judges. Here's the judges that are running. They make them pay a lug. They make them pay a lug to help pay for the financing. Now, I think that's a criminal act, criminal enterprise. They're taking the judges and they're extorting money from the judges, because if you don't pay $25,000 to the St. Clair County Democratic Party, you don't get endorsed. Now, do you think that's wrong? But anyway, Laninia Cason was an associate judge, did a great job. They appointed her, thought the world of her. But when she decided to kind of come off the plantation because she thought she deserved a spot as a circuit judge, she had been an associate judge for 8 to 10 years, and we'll talk to her mother, Karen Cason, about that. All of a sudden, because she wanted to think for herself, she didn't want to be controlled by the St. Clair County Democratic culture of corruption, she gets chastised. They have a rating, and she gets next to nothing because the fix was in. Just like the fix was in with Hillary Clinton. And I'm not saying I'm for Trump or Clinton, but what's right's right and wrong's wrong. And that crap yesterday, and we won't go into national politics, but that was off the wall. But let's take care of our housekeeping. We're going to get with Dr. Karen Cason, Mayor Carl Officer. And I want to talk to them, and it's probably going to piss some people off. And I'm not really happy unless I piss somebody off during the course of the day. You saw this Baton Rouge police shooting. 2 white guys, 2 white police officers shot this black guy. And we're going to have to let the judicial system take its course. But from what I saw, these guys aren't policemen. They're bums with badges. These 2 guys were killers. It appears to me. Now, I don't know all the evidence. I don't know all the facts. And just remember, in this great country of ours, we're innocent until proven guilty. That's just not me and you. That's everybody. So we're going to presume that these 2 police officers are innocent until proven guilty. But if my eyes didn't deceive me and there wasn't something else really egregious or atrocious that happened right before, I think that was a bad shoot. And that's to say, these guys, if it was, and I can't even say they're bums with badges, they made a bad mistake if it plays out this way. And I don't give a damn if it's a white policeman shooting a black guy or a black policeman shooting a white guy. It's a death. It's a death of somebody's family member, and we have to always remember that. But we always take it on the racial terms. The hell with the racial terms. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right. And I'm going to ask Dr. Cason and Mayor Carl Officer their take on that. They're proud black people. And I have people who tell me, Bob, don't go there. Don't go with that racial stuff. If you don't address a racial problem, it's like cancer. You got to address a problem. If you don't address it, it never goes away. And I know it's not really politically correct for a white guy to address a problem, but I don't really give a damn. It's not about black and white with me. It's about wrong and right. And we'll get to Karen Cason and Carl Officer here momentarily. Freeburg Police and Public Safety Fundraiser coming up Saturday, July the 16th at Clinton Hills Golf Course. If you have any questions or concerns, would like to get involved, would like to help the Freeburg Police and Public Safety Fundraiser, it's to help their Canine Corps out in Freeburg. You can contact Trustee Matt Trout at 618-410-8077. Coming up this Friday and Saturday, the 145th Annual Millstadt Fireman's Picnic at Liederkrantz Hall in Millstadt, Illinois. They're going to have food, barbecue, cold beer and Millstadt. Beer and Millstadt got to come together, and I say that endearingly, of course. But that'll be the 145th Annual Millstadt Fireman's Picnic, Friday and Saturday, July the 8th and 9th. Next Friday and Saturday at Liederkrantz Park. The radio station will be there. Hope you guys will show up. Also, in Millstadt, St. James Catholic Parish and School Blood Drive today, Thursday, July the 7th, from 3 to 8 p.m. in the Parish Hall, located at 412 West Washington Avenue in Millstadt. Any questions or concerns, you can contact Marge at 618-401-5122. Our good friends in Clinton County, Damiansville and Jared Hartzman, thank you very much. The Damiansville Church will have their picnic coming up July the 9th, this Saturday. The annual church picnic will take place on the shaded church grounds on Saturday, July the 9th. Dinner is available, picnic, poker, inflatable rides for the children, ice cold beer, and much more. That's Saturday, July the 9th in Damiansville. On this date, July the 7th, 1550, Europe introduced the first chocolate. On this date, July the 7th, 1863, the first military draft by the United States. You could buy an exemption for $100 back in 1863. On this date, July the 7th, 1865, 4 accomplices of John Wilkes Booth were hanged for the assassination of President Lincoln. On this date, July the 7th, 1930, construction began on Boulder Dam, which later was renamed Hoover Dam. On this date, July the 7th, 1958, Alaska became the 49th state in the United States when President Eisenhower signed the Alaska Statehood Bill. On this date, July the 7th, 1961, James R. Hoffa was elected chairman of the Teamsters. On this date, July the 7th, 1972, the first women FBI agents were sworn in. On this date, July the 7th, 1976, for the first time in its history, West Point Academy allowed women to enroll in the military school. On this date, July the 7th, 1981, Sandra Day O'Connell became the first U.S. Supreme Court woman nominated by President Ronald Reagan. That's what happened on this date, July the 7th, throughout all these years in our world's history. Don't forget, you can pick me up on iTunes. Type in Bob Romanik and/or the Grim Reaper Radio. You can go to our streaming site, insanebroadcasting.com. One word, common spelling, for the best of all 3 of our stations. You can listen to my repeat performance every day, Monday through Friday at 4 o'clock p.m. and now broadcasting from the graveyard to the graveyard shift every night at the stroke of midnight. Please like us on Facebook, KQQZ 1190 AM or KZQZ 1430 AM. You can go to my personal Facebook page, Fans of the Grim Reaper. Got a nice picture of a Fatty Patty Sprague. You ought to see. I mean, it is funny. It is funny. So go to the Fans of the Grim Reaper page, and never forget the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition on Facebook, where you'll get everything about politics in St. Clair County. And speaking of the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition, Saturday, their headquarters will be opening at 6000 West Main in Belleville from noon to 4 p.m. There's going to be barbecue, going to have some stuff in the drink. All the candidates will be there. We're going to have the East St. Louis contingency up, the Belleville contingency, Cahokia, Washington Park. So anybody and everybody, it's open to the public. Please come up and meet the candidates that are running with the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition. Get something to drink, something to eat. Going to be a great time for everybody, and that's this Saturday, weather permitting, of course, and I don't think it's going to be bad Saturday. Saturday from noon to 4 p.m. at 60th and West Main. I want to say hi to Deal from Real Deal's Mobile Car and Truck Wash. You know, this is a gentleman that goes out. He doesn't want anybody to give him anything. This is a proud black man. He's out washing cars, washing trucks, taking care of sidewalks, washing sidewalks and houses. You know, you talk about, you hear the whites talk about the blacks, they don't do, there's enough blame to go around in the black community as there is in the white community. A color doesn't make you lazy. What's inside of you makes you lazy. But this gentleman's a hard worker, and anybody can give him any business. I sincerely would appreciate it. He'll come out and wash your car, wash your truck while you're at work, come out and wash your sidewalks. Hell, he'll probably wash you. I mean, the guy's just a hardworking man. You can call Deal. It's 618-670-1198. That's what America was built on, people working and trying and doing the best they can do. And remember, everyone, not black, not white, but everyone is Americans. What do they say? America, the land, not of success, not the land of money, the land of opportunity. Everybody should have the opportunity to be successful, but you have to take that opportunity and do something with it. Also, don't forget our candidate for St. Clair County Board Chairman, Roger Cook, and Dallas Cook, who's running for St. Clair County Circuit Clerk. They're going to have their golf tournament fundraiser, a 4-man scramble, Thursday, July the 21st. It's going to be held at the Archers Golf Course in Belleville, and they're going to have the reception afterwards at Cutter's Bar and Grill. So if you need any information, I don't know, we've got a telephone number here. You can contact Jessica at 618-301-7484. Roger Cook will make a hell of a good St. Clair County Board Chairman. He's the ex-mayor of Belleville, did a great job. He defeated Sprague and those guys when nobody else could. So what else do we have going here? I guess that's, a lady called and wanted to know, how come they haven't opened the Cahokia pool in 2 years? They say there's no money, she says, Mary from Cahokia, but they're paying their park employees, park rangers, $30 an hour to do nothing. And I've been through that park. It's a nice park, nice pool, but it hasn't been open for 2 years. So Curtis McCall Jr. like to know why the good people in Cahokia haven't had their pool open. And also, I asked Carl Officer earlier if the Jones's Park splash pool was open, and he said he really didn't know. He hadn't been driven by there. Anybody, please call and let me know. You know, I tried to give $10,000 in honor of my son. They wouldn't take my money. They made the taxpayers, everyone in St. Clair County, pay the $10,000. Now, is the money going to the pool, or is the money going to Greenwood, Charlie Powell, and Alvin Parks down there? I'd like to know. We've got a caller. Let's go and take the caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on the dark side.
Hey, Bob, it's Ed Cockrell. How are you?
Hey, Ed, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Hey, congratulations on everything. I think the movement's going well, the Freedom Coalition and all the rest of it, but I think we're moving in the right direction. But I just wanted to give you a heads up on an event. I got a call, and I'm going to be at the Good Shepherd Church at 1514 Kansas in East St. Louis on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock to help anybody that's got any questions about their tax bills or appealing their taxes. So,
now, where's that at again, Ed? It come in a little muddy.
That's at Good Shepherd Church at 1514 Kansas in East St. Louis at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. And then at noon, I'll be at the grand opening of the Freedom Coalition headquarters.
Ed, give out your number, because I always praise you because you're the only elected official to give out their personal number, and you were helping people not screw the county on getting their taxes lowered, but to get the people of St. Clair County a fair shake. You've been doing that even when you're living out there in New Athens. You've been helping people in East St. Louis all throughout St. Clair County, which you didn't have to do. But give us your telephone number again, because tax time, I've been up and paid my taxes last week, and people were cussing these politicians out. Give them your number again.
Yeah, my number is 618-406-5767. Again, 618-406-5767. And if you can't make it Saturday or you can't make it any other time, give me a call. But we'll be setting up meetings around the county, 3 or 4 places, especially in places that got reassessed. And it's all about making it fair. Fair for the county, fair for the taxpayer, and fair for the people. So.
Okay, Ed, thank you very much for the call, Mr. Ed Cockrell. He's our candidate, the people's candidate for Border Review. Don't forget Ed Cockrell, a name that you'll remember because this gentleman he helped 3 or 4 of my friends not screw the county, but get their taxes lowered to the point that was fair for the county and fair for them, the taxpayers. We're going to take a quick break. When we do, we're going to come back. Our call officer just come in. Dr. Karen Cason just walked in, and we're going to talk some politics, and we're going to talk about the black community and how we can stop all the killings. This is Bob Romanik. The Grim Reaper of Radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, simulcasting on KZQZ 1430 AM, insane broadcasting at its finest, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio, and we are, as always, proud, very, very proud to be the Patriot. This is Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of Radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, simulcasting on KZQZ 1430 AM, insane broadcasting, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio, and we are, as always, proud, very, very proud to be the Patriot. I want to put a special shout out to 2 good friends, listening friends of ours. I can't remember their names. I'll try to get it tomorrow. But they drove down from West Alton in Macoupin County to get one of my bumper stickers, say they listen to the show all the time. And we want to thank you guys and everybody that takes the time out. I've told you before, when I go out, they say, Bob, I'm your fan. And I mean this seriously. If you people take the time to listen to my show, take the time to understand what's going on, you could be doing something else. But I tell you, I appreciate it, and I'm your fan. I'm not a big shot on the radio. I'm an American, a pissed off an American, and I've said it 1,000 times. I'm running for office, but I'm not running to win. Don't give a damn. I'm running to destroy these no-good son of a bitches because they're evil. Somebody has to destroy this culture of corruption in St. Clair County, and if I got to go down with them, I'm going, but I'm going to get rid of these bastards. I guarantee you, politically, of course. And before we get to Dr. Cason and Mayor Officer, I see in the paper, Madison County tax petition survives objections. You got 2 asswipes, and I'm going to call them asswipes because they are 2 ex-police officers filed a motion in court to get the petition off the ballot. And the petition is, guess what? To decide on a 5-cent tax reduction in November. Now, here's some asswipe son of a bitches that are trying to get it thrown off the ballot. Why the hell? See, that's the problem, people. There's no ballot access. If you run for something, these politicians have it all sewed up, and they make sure some signatures are bad. This gets thrown off. That gets thrown off. You get thrown off for all kind of technicalities, and people can't afford lawyers to get back on the ballot. But these asswipes in Madison County, 2 ex-policemen, and let me give you their name, and I hate to say that because I'm a firm supporter of all police officers. Ben Dickman, who must be a dick, served as Edwardsville Chief of Police and later City Administrator. Well, he's not a policeman, he's a politician. And Richard Gillespie, who's now retired from the Alton Police Department. Both alleged that the petition contained a significant number of signatures that were invalid. Now, why the hell do they give a damn? Let the people, see, that's the problem. They want to get this knocked off the ballot because, see, these greedy bastards, these politicians have spent all of our money and they need more money. Who in their right mind, especially in an election year, would fight to get something taken off the ballot that the voters, the bosses of these politicians, the people going to vote to lower the taxes, and some ass-white politicians are trying to get it knocked off the ballot? Do you understand, people? That's what's going on. They have spent all of our money, and they're going to continue to spend it until we stop them. We don't need all these jobs at these courthouses. I'm going to expose here in the next few days all the jobs that these attorneys have at the courthouse in St. Clair County that are working 1 day a week, getting a paycheck, getting pension, 1 day a month. I'm sorry, not a week. Let me correct myself. 1 day a month. They get full benefits. That is criminal, people. You guys are out there busting your ass to put food on the table for your family, and then we're letting these son of a bitchin' politicians steal everything from us? I'm tired of it. I'm tired, people, and I hope the hell you guys are too. And I know everybody's tired of hearing my crap, but that's okay. I'm going to give it anyway. Dr. Karen Cason, been around a long time, beautiful lady, ex-council member for East St. Louis. Her beautiful daughter, Lanina's running for circuit judge on the Republican ticket. And with me also, Mayor Carl Officer. And Mayor, you can chime in at any time because I know you're friends with the Casons and the Cason family. But Dr. Karen Cason, Doctor, I think they treated your daughter like crap. I think these politicians, and she's a black lady, but we won't even play the race card here. She was just a qualified judge, and because she didn't kiss ass up there in St. Clair County, they got rid of her. Am I correct in that?
You are so correct, Bob, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that, as you stated before, I was a precinct committeeman, Democratic precinct committeeman for a long time, and I was also a Democratic council person, and I did not kiss anybody's I'm going to say behind.
Well, I know you kicked a lot of ass because you don't give a damn. You're going to fight the fight, and I salute you for that.
And that's part of the problem, is because I did fight. And I want to commend you, Mayor Officer and Mayor Cook, for initiating or founding the Freedom Coalition, which I am happy to be supportive of and will do everything I can for the Freedom Coalition. This is a concept that everybody wanted to do probably individually, but there's strength in numbers.
Right.
And as an individual, a person could not really, it didn't mean anything. But as a whole, and with all these legs, and it's steady getting legs, because everywhere you go, people are talking about vote the person, not the party. And I'm here, I'm speaking on behalf of myself, not for Lanina. So anything that I may say, you can attribute it to me, right, and not Lanina. Lanina has spent 12 years as associate circuit judge in St. Clair County. She also created the local probate rules for the 20th Judicial Circuit, which they're using at this point in time. She presided over cases in all 5 counties in the 20th Judicial Circuit. She presided over major civil and felony jury trials. She practiced law as a partner at Henshaw and Culberson in Belleville. She advanced her judicial academy. She was an alumni of the Brookings Institute. Lanina was very qualified for the position, but because of politics, they felt that we're not going to be for you. It's really sad because there's so much corruption as far as the judicial system is concerned. I've talked to a number of attorneys, and they let me know that they're forced to give lugs to the Democratic, St. Clair County Democratic
Central Committee.
And, Bob, I want to say, the sound, one of your theme songs, Who Let the Dogs Out?
Uh-huh.
I've got a little 6-year-old niece, and that's her favorite song. She wants me to let her know when her song comes out, who lets the dogs out. And I want to reference an article, and it's very brief, that was in the St. Clair County Record on March 25th, 2016. And it's titled, Nothing But a Hound Dog. And it says, you see them in the country if you live out in the country. If you don't live out there or pass through infrequently, you see them in movies or in TV shows about country people. Movies like the Ma and Pa Kettle series from the 50s and shows like Green Acres and Duck Dynasty. We're talking about the lazy old hounds that slump on the front porches of their owners' shacks day and night, never moving a muscle except to scratch a flea or gnaw on an old soup bone. They say it's a dog's life, but for some dogs, the lazy ones at least, life is pretty good. In French, the dog means lachine. If you want to see a lazy dog in these parts, look no further than the St. Clair County Courthouse, because that's where you'll find Circuit Judge Robert the Dog Lachine. He won't be scratching fleas and gnawing bones on the front steps of the courthouse, more than likely, but he might as well be for all the work he does. Lachine is one of 3 slide judges from St. Clair County who are seeking to avoid the higher retention standard state law sets for incumbents, which is 60%, facing retention by resigning their judgeships and pretending to be first-time candidates, electable by a simple majority. The other 2 are John Barrett-Civic and Robert Hayter. Lachine is running for 6 more years as a St. Clair County Circuit Judge, but quote-unquote running may not be the right word, since it connotes strenuous activity, and that's not something he's engaged in lately. In fact, his workload has been light, to say the least. Chief Judge Barrett-Civic stopped assigning civil law actions to Lachine last March after litigants moved for substitute judges 38 times in 102 days. And it ends by saying if the dog is still on the ballot in November, voters should exercise their right of substitution and vote for his opponent instead. And his opponent is Laninia Cason.
You know, Doc, I read that article, and Lachine, very sick man, and I wish him the best of health, as I did Rick Stone. I don't want my enemies to ever die. I want to keep them around. I just want them to die politically, of course. But Lachine hardly ever comes to work. I know he's got medical problems. It's alleged that he's told people that he wants to die in office so his family can get this county insurance policy, and I feel for his family, but we shouldn't have to pay all these salaries when these guys never show up, Doc. But here's what's happened. They got rid of your daughter. They brought in a plantation Negro. They brought in Bill Clay's son. Never from East St. Louis, never around the black community below the hill. He came down and asked everybody, hey, will you be for me for judge because I'm black? Sprague and Kern and Barrett-Civic sent me down here. They made him a judge just because he was black. Laninia Cason was a judge because she was qualified. And that's what we got to get past, Mayor Officer and Dr. Cason. We got to get past this black-white crap, because they're playing that to divide the proud black community, the proud white community, and we shouldn't have that. We shouldn't have that. Laninia Cason was a judge. They brought her in because she was qualified, and the only reason they got rid of her, Dr. Cason, your beautiful daughter, was because she wouldn't kiss their ass and their rings up at the courthouse. And that's not a black-white thing. That goes on up here in Belleville. The whites have to kiss these son of a bitches' asses. And I think this year it's a perfect storm, Dr. Cason. I think we're going to win the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition, a patriotic movement, not a political organization, is going to win because people are tired. They may know that we're not the best qualified candidates, and maybe we're not. And maybe we're not perfect candidates, and we're not. But we're a whole lot better than the corruption that's going on at the courthouse this very day.
And you're so right, Bob. And as I stated before, anything and everything that I can do to get rid of the corruption and the incumbents that are there, I'm going to do everything that I can. And I'm encouraging anybody and everybody that I know to vote the person, not the party. And the people that are there at this point in time in St. Clair County, they're not good for St. Clair County.
Dr. Karen Cason, thank you very much. Before we get to Mayor Officer, we're going to take a quick break, but let me remind all you people, Saturday, the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition headquarters will be having their grand opening. Will be food, refreshments. Come out and meet the candidates. I've had thousands of people talk to me on the air, off the air, in the street. How do I become a member of the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition? Come out Saturday. You'll understand what we're about. We're not a political party. We had to run on the Republican ticket because that's the way these ass-white politicians have screwed up our electoral process. We have to run on the Republican ticket. We do have a few Republicans, a few Democrats, a few black, a few white, a few men, a few women, because that's what we're here for. That's our motto. We're uniting blacks, white, men, women, Democrats, and Republicans for a more effective, a more efficient, but most of all, a more honest form of government. Give us a chance. And if we screw up, don't give us 40 years like you give these ass-white bastards. Give us 4 and then kick our ass to the curb if we don't do what you people want. I think it's a dawn of a new day. I think the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition uniting with the New Vision Democrats in East St. Louis, with the group out of Washington Park, with the Cahokia division of the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition, with the Belleville division. I think you people are going to see a change come November. And I think January, when we take office, you're going to see a positive change because we don't give a damn about playing politics. We give a damn about servicing the people of our community, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to come back, talk again with Dr. Karen Cason. She's going to stick around, Mayor Carl Officer, and I want to ask 2 proud black people sitting across from me what they think about the tragedy in the black community. This is Bob Romanik. The Grim Reaper of Radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, simulcasting on KZQZ 1430 AM. Insane Broadcasting, your guardian of the First Amendment, America's bi-state voice of freedom, Radical Radio, and we are, as always, proud, very proud to be the Patriot. This is Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of Radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, simulcasting on KZQZ 1430 AM. Insane Broadcasting, America's bi-state voice of freedom, Radical Radio, and we are, as always, proud, very, very proud to be the Patriot. With me again, and always an honor and a privilege to have 2 proud black community leaders, Mayor Carl Officer, the 3-4-time mayor of East St. Louis, and Dr. Karen Cason, the council member of East St. Louis, and both active, not in the political setting, but in the community setting in East St. Louis. And both you guys, you can chime in. I'm just concerned, and this is a white guy talking, and I'm concerned about my community, black and white. It's red, white, and blue. We're all Americans to me, and you people listen to me, you know that. They can say what they want about Bob Romanik. I'm far from being a racist. If I don't like you and you're black, you're in trouble. And if I don't like you, you're white, you're in just as much trouble. But what bothers me, I saw Jesse Jackson last night talking about the shooting in Baton Rouge where these 2 policemen shot this black guy. And for what I saw, and it'll have to be proven in court, of course, because we're all innocent till proven guilty, it was a bad shoot. Me being an ex-police officer, it was a bad shoot. And I don't know if they shot this guy because they were afraid that he was black, or they were afraid he was going to hurt them, or they thought he had a gun. But it appeared to be a bad shoot. And then Mayor Officer just told me about another bad shooting up in Minneapolis. But here's my take. It was another white officer shooting a black man. And the black community gets up in arms about that. Here's Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. Get rid of those white policemen down in Baton Rouge, indict them, arrest them. And if they're guilty, I say do that, put their asses in jail forever. But what bothers me are the 60 shootings, primarily of black, in Chicago last week, the 7 shootings in St. Louis with 3 or 4 deaths last week, and it's black on black. I don't see Jesse Jackson, I don't see Al Sharpton out there trying to stop the bulk of the killings, in which it's black on. I don't care if it's white on black. Let's address that. It just happens to be black on black, but you get these black charlatans, the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons. They want to come out and they can talk about a bad white police officer, but let's don't lose sight of the proud black community getting destroyed day in and day out by black people. And I don't want to, it's not racial. If it was white people, I'd say let's address that. But these black community leaders, these civic activists, they're only concerned about when a white police officer shoots one black man. They don't care about black on black crime. And I think that's bad. I think that's bad for the proud black community. Mayor Officer, what's your take?
Well, first of all, let me say good morning to you, Bob. I think that before I go right there, let me say something about Ed Cockrell right quick. The program that he's going to be attending Saturday morning in East St. Louis, it is absolutely important for anyone who lives in the East St. Louis metropolitan area. If you're concerned about your taxes, you need to go to the Good Shepherd Church at 15th and Kansas, 10 o'clock Saturday morning. Every one of you who pay taxes, you need to be standing outside the door. And Bob, I know you're going to do this with Ed throughout the end of July and early August to let all voters, all taxpayers know throughout St. Clair County. We talked about it early in the spring about how to protest their taxes.
Right. I
know you and Ed are planning a show on doing that. But going to the issue of crime, particularly shootings in the black community, you have to look at 2 aspects. First and foremost, the history of the United States is a very violent history. People talk about the Second Amendment every single day. That's always the argument. America was founded with weapons and will always have 2 things, alcohol and weapons. Those things are never going to go away. But what we have to do is to understand how to be responsible with both. Where I meet with my colleagues, I'm talking about funeral directors, both black and white. I was in Chicago at Tinley Park 2 weeks ago. I talked to some friends of mine, former president of the Illinois Funeral Directors Association, a gentleman whose funeral home is located on 79th Street off of Stony Island in Chicago. You can't get any more hood than that. He probably does 1,600 funerals a year. And I asked him, I addressed him, I said, Charles, what about all these killings in Chicago? I'm here. He says, Carl, the only time you see those killings is I have not had maybe 3 of those funerals this year. He says, those are people who are in the wrong place at the wrong time at 2 and 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. He says, in the communities that I normally serve. He says, it's not like that in Hyde Park. It's not like this on the South Shore. The same thing in East St. Louis, North St. Louis. The problem that we have, and that goes to the second part of this thing with the shootings. A man who's got a job doesn't have time to run around shooting people. When I listen to Jesse Jackson, who's a friend of mine, I listen to Al Sharpton, who I know also, they're talking about stuff that they can relate to from 1969, 1972. In 2016, the unemployment rate is so dramatic in this community and in this nation, but particularly in the black community, the high percentage of shootings that you're seeing are people getting shot because by other people who have no jobs. It's a tragedy to see 500 police shootings in America this year so far in 2016. It's tragic to see the black officers and black young men getting shot by white police officers, but it's not a wholesale vendetta by white police. White police officers don't get up in the morning to put on their uniform and say, I'm going to go hunt me some black guys to kill today. That ain't the way it goes. But at the same time, there's not a whole group of young black guys who wake up in the morning and put on a 9mm or a Glock. So I'm going to shoot me 5 or 6 brothers today because I ain't got nothing else to do.
Right.
It is about economics. At the end of the day, these young men and some women are fighting because they don't have, first of all, any self-respect. Secondly, they don't have jobs. Third, they have no direction. And Dr. Cason can speak to this. Education. I mean, at the end of the day, if you are that dumb, you can't even figure out why you shot somebody.
Yeah.
Okay? I could go into a host of religious and moral reasons why these things, but I can assure you that if we had Americans working, if you don't have time to go and stick me up, if you got to go hit a time clock, if you're getting a job every day, if you got children to feed, if you got things, you said it yourself, and I want you to listen to what you said. You said if somebody stopped you from feeding your family, you do whatever you have to do.
I would do whatever I had to do.
And that's what I'm seeing with so many. I buried a young man last Saturday out of Centerville, Illinois. This young man has had a good job, 3 kids, great mother and father. He got killed for nothing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't by the police.
Yeah.
It was by another black person, shot him 7 times.
Yeah, and I don't want to make light of white police officers making bad shoots on the black community, but let's take the whole picture. Let's don't just leave out the major part, but you're right, Mayor. There's no jobs. There's no guidance. And you know what that all equates to? No hope. And when there's no hope,
there you go.
There's nothing left. Dr. Karen Cason, I'm going to give you the last word. You're an educator. What do you think about the black-on-black crime and just this whole situation that the mayor and I have been talking about?
I just think it's just horrific, and I do have to piggyback and state that a lot of it has to do with the economics. A lot of people kill and rob or whatever because of money. You know, and they feel like they have to do what they have to do. And, you know, I want to go back to when you mentioned Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. I think that there are people that, you know, like to be recognized or just happen to come on set just for the national.
They're opportunists.
They're opportunists. But I do think that there are many people in the St. Louis metropolitan area that are very much concerned about the violence. You have a number of organizations. You have a number of individuals that are locally, and they're, you know, very pronounced in having vigils and in trying to address through the local police departments in trying to address the violence in the community. So I really don't, when I think in terms of people coming out to address these issues, I think of the local people. I really don't focus a lot on a Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton.
Well, Dr. Cason, thank you very much. We're running out of time, but I have to say in parting that, and it is about politics, because these politicians have made us all desperate. They've taken away our hope. They're taking away our drive. They've taken away our children's ambition. These children see what's going on, and they've become so apathetic. And when that hurts the majority of us being apathetic, that perpetuates the existence of these rotten bastards politicians, not just Democrats, but Republicans too. It's that divide and conquer. That's to make everybody feel dependent. And when you feel dependent on somebody, you lose hope. Dr. Karen Cason, thank you very much. Mayor Carl Officer, it's always an honor and a privilege. Tomorrow, I will have a special guest, our Marine from Freeburg, Marine Mitch Spicer. He'll be here accompanied by his dad, Seth Spicer, who's the mayor of Freeburg. And we're not going to be here to talk politics. Again, this is a young man who had everything going for him. 18 years old, just out of high school, could have went to college, could have played sports, but he decided to join the Marines and defend our country. And, you know, I got to salute him and, again, all of our military heroes. And when people tell Bob Romanik, you ass-white bastards that tell Bob Romanik that I take patriotism and being a proud American too far, I say, at the end of the day, there's 2 things you cannot love enough. your family, and your country. And your country is your family. This is Bob Romanik. The Grim Reaper of radio, and you've been listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, simulcasting on KZQZ 1430 AM. Insane broadcasting at its finest. America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio, and we are, as always, proud to be the Patriot. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. And as always, we'll continue this journey. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, and we have taken step after step after step, and we'll continue. We'll get knocked down, but we're not going to get knocked out. We'll get knocked down time and time again. But us as a community, black, white, men, women, Democrats, and Republicans, will all pick each other up. We'll all unite. We'll continue to expose these rotten bastards, drag these son of a bitches over the political coals of hell. And when it's all said and done, you know what we have to do. Like any war, we have to destroy the enemy, the evil enemy, before they destroy us. Destroy them politically, of course. Don't want to go to jail this weekend. Politically, of course. Right here on the dark side.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time.
And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away.